facing the police every single day.
Family gets $750,000 after SWAT raided their home, killed their dog over unpaid utility bill. St. Louis, Missouri. Nothing says police state USA quite like a SWAT team raiding a family home and killing their dog because they are unable to pay their gas bill. The woman whose dog was killed and home destroyed by SWAT officers is Angela Zorich, and her story about her police state experience will shock the conscience. After fighting the system for nearly 5 years, Zorich's family is finally being compensated. According to the lawsuit, which was settled this week, Zorich was the victim of a massive military-style raid and subsequent puppycide. The raid was carried out because police said they needed to check if her home had electricity and natural gas service. "I saw them and they're just pouring in, they're covered head to toe, they got helmets, they're like military style," said Zorich. "This is an example of police overreaching and using excessive force to get a family out of their house," said Kenneth Chackas to the Riverfront Times, the attorney who represents Zorich. According to the lawsuit, on April 25, 2014, St. Louis County police officers came to her house. Her son cussed at them. They inspected the home's exterior and placed a problem properties sticker on the front window. Days after being publicly shamed and labeled by the St. Louis Police Department as a problem, on April 28, Zorich called them to follow up. She was told by police that she was being investigated for failing to have natural gas or electric service, 2 violations against city code. Zorich admitted to the police that she did not have gas, but said that she did have electricity. Zorich asked for another inspection to prove that she had the utilities. The officer told her that was fine, but that the investigation would continue. The next day, on April 29, 2014, the home of Angela Zorich was raided by multiple officers from the St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit. The Riverfront Times outlines the details of the lawsuit. Zorich was at home with several family members and her pit bull, Kia, when a St. Louis County Police Tactical Response Unit burst through the door without knocking, according to her suit. The unit had at least 5 officers with M4 rifles, supported by at least 8 uniformed officers. The officers entered so quickly, Zorich's suit alleges, that Kia didn't even have time to bark. A tactical officer fired 3 shots into the dog, and the dog's bladder and bowels released and she fell to the floor. The dog was laying on the floor in her own waste and blood, struggling to breathe. She had a gaping hole in her chest. Zorich claims the officers kept trying to talk to her about the natural gas, but she was focused on her dog, whom she'd raised as a puppy and who, she says, had never shown aggression to any person. At one point in the raid, Zorich alleges, an officer pointed his firearm at her son's head and said one word, "Motherfucker, and I'll put 3 in you." "They put me and my son on our knees to watch her die." The officer squatted over her while she was dying with the search warrant, and he said, "You know why we're here?" And I said, "No, I don't know." When he said, "We're here because your gas is off." I lost it, Zorich said. Police claimed that they had to shoot Zorich's dog because it charged at them. However, an autopsy would reveal that the dog was shot from behind as it ran away from police. Zorich was subsequently taken into custody at the police station. When she was finally let go and allowed to return to her home, she found to be completely trashed. Beds had been overturned, and items that were once on shelves had been thrown to the floor. The citations issued to Zorich, which had allegedly justified the heavily militarized raid on her home, were for substandard siding, guardrail, screens, window glass, and deck. A dozen armed men dressed for war were dispatched to a woman's home, killed her dog, and kidnapped her because of some moldy wood and her inability to pay her gas bill. In what world is this considered justice? The apologists will say that Angela Zorich provoked police into this action against her. If she didn't want to be raided, they will say, she should have just paid her gas bill. The thought of the raid being retaliatory in nature won't enter their minds. Luckily, with her legal team, Zorich got the actual justice she deserves.
$750,000. St. Louis County will be paying that sum to a woman whose dog was shot to death by police. The incident was tied to an unpaid gas bill. The St. Louis County Police Department's SWAT team was serving a warrant.
The victim says her constitutional rights were violated when police came bursting in, all because she was behind on her gas bill.
The woman is speaking only to News 4's Ashley Lincoln, who's live downtown this evening.
Well, Stephen Courtney, that $750,000 settlement was issued here at the federal courthouse earlier today. Now, the county tells us that they made changes to their policy shortly after this incident, but the woman involved in this case tells us more needs to be done.
Boom, pop, 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 that quick. Then I saw them. They're just pouring in, and they're covered from head to toe. They've got helmets. They're like military style.
Angela Zorich says she remembers that April day in 2014 like it was yesterday.
And their guns, they're just on my kids.
Her life forever changed after she says the St. Louis County Police Department SWAT team came with a no-knock warrant for an unpaid gas bill.
Why is this cop able to call in a SWAT team? Because I didn't have gas service at my house.
She recalls SWAT members kicking in this door before firing at her pit bull, Kaya.
And they put me and my son Isaiah on our knees to watch her die. The officer squatted over her while she was dying with a search warrant, and he said, "Do you know why we're here?" And I said, "No, I didn't know." When he said, "We're here because your gas is off," I lost it.
The lead officer in this situation is a part of the department's problem properties unit. It goes after neglected properties in St. Louis County. Zorich's attorney says police were tipped off by one of her neighbors for not having her gas on.
There is a disturbing lack of oversight.
Her attorney, Jerome Dobson, says the lead officer fabricated a story to a judge and fellow SWAT members, leading them to believe Zorich's sons were highly violent, all in an effort to get the no-knock warrant. Dobson says that warrant was executed just 2 hours after it was signed.
No evidence that was going to be destroyed. You're not going to flush the gas meter down the toilet.
During the trial, the county argued Zorich's pit bull charged at SWAT members, but pictures of the dog presented by the defense shows the pit bull was shot in the back. A national police shooting expert testified that the way Kaya was shot did not match the police narrative.
Their claim was that it was really unsafe for me to not have gas service at my house. So you bring a SWAT team with assault rifles and you start firing at my poor dog.
Jerome Dobson says the unreasonable search violated Zorich's Fourth Amendment rights and believes the county's $750,000 settlement is a way to heat off trouble.
I think it's a recognition that they felt there was a significant possibility that the jury was going to return verdicts against them.
They took away my peace. I have no sense of security.
And the county says they've made changes to their policy regarding the threat level when conducting these types of search warrants. Now, they also tell us that certain procedures have changed as well when going through with these types of search warrants. Reporting live in downtown, Ashley Lincoln, News 4.
Hey, Sheriff County, this is Sheriff County COPWATCH. I am using any video here under fair use if you have criticism, reporting, teaching, etc. And please donate. I do not make money from YouTube. And there are different ways to donate in the video links. Thanks.